Hello and welcome. This video is going to focus on critique writing. You guys have a critique that will be due this week. You are to be utilizing the online library in order to locate a peer-reviewed article, something dealing with the profession that you want to go into, or if you don't know, that's fine. This is a great opportunity for you to just look into something that you could be interested in and to find out a little bit more. A couple things with that. Now, one, in your module this week, I have included how to use the online library. Please make sure that you view that video if you are not aware of how to do so. Also, if you have any other questions regarding that, either you can reach out to me, or better yet, I would contact the librarian and have them help you. They are an amazing resource and strongly encourage you to build relationships with your librarians. So you're going to be choosing an article. A couple things when you're choosing an article. Are you interested in it? Please do not just get the first article. As you'll see through that video, there are hundreds of thousands of articles that are at your fingertips. And so you really want to, narrow those down utilizing what I've put in that video. Or that PowerPoint rather, to really get it to a manageable work, that you can actually go into them. Read your abstracts. Your abstract is basically the summary of that writing. If it doesn't grab your attention, if your eyes are rolling in the back of your head, go to another one. Again, there are so many different things that are out there. Choose something that you're going to engage with that you can read and understand. If you are selecting an article, again, remember you guys are on the first step of your career. Some of these articles are written based on if you have been in the career. Those are more for upper level work. There's a lot of different levels of articles, but make sure that you can understand it. That if you have to look up a word here or there, that's okay. But if it's like every sentence and it's using a lot of technical jargon, the first thing that comes to mind are science or medical journal articles. Just be really careful. Again, you have so many to choose from. Make sure that you can read it easily and something that you can respond to and that you're interested in. Okay. Also, watch the page length. Some of these peer-reviewed articles are really long. So you really want to get something that is something manageable that you will be able to read in one sitting, because you're going to have to write a summary or an overview rather, of that article. Please, if you've not already, please watch the video that I made regarding summary writing, because it talks about the skill of summary writing, because you will need a summary in this week's assignment. That's why I placed that in your module this week. So please make sure that you take some time and start as soon as you can. Remember that your summary for your critique is due in the discussion board this Wednesday. Please do not be late with that assignment. You are missing valuable feedback from your classmates if you do not have that in on time, mainly because the summary should be able to give the reader an idea of what your article is about. And basically, that's what your classmates are going to tell you if they understand what you're talking about and they have a good idea. If not, then they're going to tell you why and what is holding you back. What does your summary need in order for them to understand it? And I'm going to tell you right now, grammar is going to be huge. How are you phrasing it? Are you going back and proofing your work to make sure that each sentence you're not dropping words, or you've edited in the middle of a sentence and you've added something and taken away? Please edit your work, because this is a form of peer review and you really want to give them something to read that's cohesive and that they're going to easily be able to get through. If not, I'm actually open the doors and I'm saying, okay, as a peer, what's wrong? Because you need to be made aware of this is how people are receiving your writing. So just be really careful with that. Okay, so let's just shift right on into critique writing. In your module this week, I've actually given you some instructions on how to write a critique. I have no idea where I got this material. I did not write this. I wish I did know, because I just wish I knew where I got this, because it is a phenomenal resource. And please look at this and use this as a map. Print it off as you are going through it to make sure that you're including all these pieces and parts and being mindful of it. But I'm just going to go through the highlights of it. The main thing about a critique, and usually when I say a critique, people automatically think that I'm talking about I'm going to critique how someone's writing. No, I'm not. That's editing. Editing and critiquing are not the same way, or the same thing rather. You are not going to tell me that the author wrote beautifully and used great words and phrased things just wonderfully and it was just a well-constructed article. That's not what a critique is. In fact, you will receive no points if I see that. Okay, when you are doing any type of academic writing, it has to be centered on the purpose of the writing and the content of the writing. Now, do you take some things into account about the author? Yes. You know, what was his intent? Who is his audience? All that good stuff. But it's not about him, and it is not a personal attack against the author. Remember, they are writing based on their research, their personal experiences, and for you to attack them is not appropriate for one, and just not a part of what this assignment is. Now, does it mean you have to agree with your author? No, you do not. But you have to support why. So this is a great exercise of really starting to get our feet wet with research. You're only utilizing one source, and that's for this assignment. That's why I chose this assignment this week before we start getting into a synthesis where you have to use more sources, and then eventually when we're getting into research where you're having to use multiple resources. I really wanted you to get your feet wet, and we're just going to scaffold that on up. Okay, so a critique is about a topic, an article with a specific purpose. Okay, and in this particular assignment, it is about something in your chosen career. So if you're going into medicine, all right, for one, that's a huge umbrella. So we need to bring that in. What part, what's your content, what is your specialty in medicine? Is it pediatrics? Is it geriatric? Is it family? You know, whatever that is. Okay, again, probably going to get tons of articles on that. So bring it in a little bit more. You know, what about children or pediatric? Do you want to be, you know, like the family pediatric one? I really don't know a whole lot, but I hope you get my gist on that. How can you really be more specialized with what you are wanting to research? If it's law, is it family, real estate, business? Then what about it that you are interested in to find something about those particular topics, and try to get something that is specific. If you're education, do you want elementary, middle, or high? Tons of stuff out there. Okay, so you know, you want to get a topic or an article that is in your content area or your degreed area, and if not, if you haven't declared one, that's fine. Get it in your interest area. So this is an opportunity for you guys to explore it a little bit more. So that's your first thing. Are you interested in it? Do you have a response to it while you're reading it? Do you kind of like, you know, that's interesting, or I'm not sure if I totally agree with that? You know if you're having a response, because while you're reading it, you're usually making some responses to it. Like I said, if your eyes are rolling in the back of your head, you've read a whole page and you really didn't read it because you were thinking about lunch or dinner, you probably need to get another article. You want something that you are going to engage with. That is what's going to make this assignment meaningful to you. So to kind of talk about what a critique is, in your information, rigorous critical reading of a passage, which means that you have to engage with it. I told you guys before, one of the things when I'm using articles, especially when I have to do a response, I like to print them off, because that way I can annotate, I can highlight, I can make notes off to the side. I mean, I've already done that with this particular information because there were specific things that I wanted to bring to your attention. When I'm reading an article, things that jump out to me, something that engages me, catches my interest, I'm going to highlight that. If something brings up a question in me, guess what? I'm going to highlight that, and then off to the side, I'm going to write the question that it invokes. I'm going to annotate and highlight words that maybe I don't know. If somebody reference something, like if you're reading something that's law and maybe they reference a law case, well, obviously you haven't really gotten down the road yet. You may have to look it up real quick. What was the gist of that law case, so you can kind of get an idea. Same thing with medicine. If they're referencing something that you do not know or you haven't learned yet, which is okay, you need to reference it. Again, if you're finding that every other sentence is something that you have to research and look up, see if we can find something different that's a little bit more manageable, because I don't want you to hate this assignment. I really, that's not the purpose. I really want this to be helpful for you. So, so you want to engage with it, but the whole purpose is, a critique is like a response writing, and there's different things that go into it, and it really breaks it down. Now, the reason that I said that you need to watch the summary video that I just loaded into your modules is because you need a brief summary with this. You're going to have an introductory paragraph. In your introductory, you must give me the name of the article and the author. Okay, so you're going to have a hook. What's something that's going to engage me, get my attention, name of the article, name of the author, and I'm going to need a thesis statement, which is, what is this about? And, what's a statement of what am I getting ready to read? What's your end game? What's the purpose? Why am I reading this? What am I hoping to gain? What do you want your reader to gain by the time that they finish reading this? That's your thesis statement. Okay. All right. So it actually walks you through this. First, read the passage thoroughly, annotate it, take notes, get some time with it. What are you reading? Because you're going to have to read the entire article in order to write an overview, i.e. summary for this. Second, you have to write a summary. Main point, look at the author's main point, list the types of proofs he or she employs to persuade the reader to believe or accept the thesis. You should try to figure out why the author is writing. Oh, who are they writing to? That's a concept. Audience. Yes. Who is their audience? Because that's really going to dictate and really fill you into who are they trying to talk, who are they talking to? Are they trying to persuade someone? And if so, what's that audience look like? Or who's their intended audience? So see, we've already talked about these concepts. I told you we're going to be scaffolding. Everything that we do, we're going to build on it every week. Now you're going to set your own agreement or disagreement. You do not have to agree with the author, but you don't have to disagree either. It could be that you agree with some pieces of it and not all. That's okay. How are you responding to what you read? Okay, and then there's some things that I want you to think about, or that things that that are bringing to light on that you need to consider. Provide complete and accurate information, or does the author provide complete and accurate information? If they're leaving out important facts, that means if you're having to ask a question about what they've written because you don't see the end result, they made a claim, but we don't have the evidence. Sound familiar from last week? Okay, that's where that, them just saying something, should you just believe it? No, they have to have evidence. So that's one of those things. Does the author provide information that is relevant on the issue? Does the author define key terms adequately and clearly? So if it's something specific to a concept and they're maybe educating you about that concept, are they defining it and what it means? Again, is that author writing in a clear and concise manner that you're able to receive what that information is? But it's not saying he wrote clearly or concisely. These things that you are looking at is giving you proof. That's what's giving you the substance of the article. Finally, is the author's argument logically consistent, or is it supported by fallacies logic, such as straw man or slippery slope or a false dilemma? We did some of these logical fallacies last week. Do any of those apply here? Now, it doesn't mean that it has to. Remember, everything that we're learning is a potential tool to use in order to support and give evidence, okay, of why we're responding certain ways. Okay, so once you've done all this, this is basically you compiling all your information before you actually start writing. These things that it's asking you to do is helping you engage in the article, okay, and to make you look at it more critically. Eventually, anytime that you look at things where, your professors say they want you to respond on something, or they could call it a critique. I hear things both ways. This is how you look at it. Because in order for you to make a educated response, a thorough response, you need to be able to make sure that you are addressing these things and take notes on that. So again, annotate, annotate, annotate. These are things that you're highlighting, you're notating off to the side. If you are seeing a logical fallacy, highlight the fallacy and off to the side. Which one was it? So you have that information. Make your notes work for you. Okay, and that's what the notation is so you don't have to go back in and try to figure out why you highlighted something. If you're highlighting something, if it's not super clear as to why you're highlighting it, then you need to make a note as to why you're highlighting it. Make notes. It's a good thing. Finally, draft your critique. Please do not give me first drafts. Okay, do not do that. Please go back after you've written it and then use those tools that we've talked about. Read your stuff out loud exactly the way you have it written. Watch your grammar. If your grammar is off, if your sentences don't make sense, the reader's going to be confused. And I'm going to tell you right now, this week is going to be a little brutal because you're going to be putting your summaries in your discussion board and your peers are going to be reading it. And I am giving them full reign to tell you what's wrong with it. And you need to know that. And you need to hear that. For one, don't take it as an insult. Take it as an opportunity to learn and be more mindful of something. You know, and so now that you're aware, this is how my writing is coming across to other people. I'm telling you, valuable stuff is going to happen this week. Now, as an aside, we're not going to be mean. You're just identifying this was difficult. You know, if it is difficult. Because hopefully, now that I'm saying this and I'm telling people that, okay, you can tell people what's wrong with this now. Hopefully, you'll be more mindful about how you're, structuring your writing. So you don't have any negativity. But if you are giving feedback, it has to be respectful. I was having difficulty understanding this based on whatever it was. It still needs to be respectful feedback. This is not an attack. And if I see that, then I'm going to be addressing your points on your particular one because that's not what this is about. But it is a great opportunity for you to really see how people are reading your writing. And we've had some issues with discussion boards that we're going to talk about in class this week. Okay, so be very, very mindful about that. Okay, so the final with the draft, you need an introduction. I've already told you that. Your second paragraph will be the summary. You have about 8 sentences tops to give me an overview about your article. If I see that your summary is 2 pages long on a 2-page requirement, you're not going to get credit. 75% of your paper needs to be this set your agreement or disagreement and your conclusion. That needs to be the bulk of this paper. Your summary should not come off of page 1. Page 2 should be the bulk of your response, of why you agree or disagree, the support for that, and then your concluding paragraph. Critiques are usually a 2-page assignment, and I do that purposely because it makes you look for quality. I want you giving me the meat, not just a bunch of fluff. I want you to really think about what you're writing and to make everything that you say meaningful. All right, so you need an intro. You need the summary. If I don't see a summary, that's gonna hit your grade. Then your analysis of the author's presentation, your own response to the argument, and then your conclusion. That's it. Now, what I've done, or what you have in your reading, is that it goes into detail with that. But please read through that. It is a lot of great information, but pretty much every writing assignment, I can tell you, they will have an intro, there will be a body, and there will be a conclusion. The only thing that's going to differ between a lot of these writing assignments is what the body looks like. For a critique or a response, an analysis, you will have a summary in there because you have to let the reader know what it is that you're responding to so they can have an understanding of how things are relating. If not, you've immediately given them confusion. And if you have confused your reader, what have you done? You have failed, right? Because they can't engage with what you're saying. So that is basically what the critique is. It is a very easy piece of writing. It's one of the things I love about academic writing. There really isn't a lot of fluff. You're getting right to the meat of everything. And it's very clear cut with how it's set up, how you get into it, do your job and get back out. So, but again, 2 pages, which means I'm not reading a third. You do need a works cited page, even though you were mentioning your the title of the article and the person. Some critiques, depending upon if it was in a magazine, I will even mention, what was, it was that was located in, Medicine Today, whatever. But just make sure that you have those pieces and parts. Now, with articles, now I know this question is going to come up, and it's a one source. Do you have in-text citations or not? I'm going to say that's going to depend. If it was an online source, they don't have page numbers. And the fact is that you have already established that is from this article. That's a really hard one. If you have page numbers, I would go ahead, and if you're pulling something from a specific page, put the page number in parentheses. Remember, it is included with the sentence, the last sentence that it deals with. The end mark goes after the in-text citation. Okay? But again, with the critique, we know that it is already about this particular article. That's why this isn't easier, because it's only dealing with one source, and it's very plain that it is this source. So it's not necessarily needed. When we go into a synthesis or anything that's using more than one source, you definitely have to use in-text citations. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. Remember that this is an MLA format. And you also have to keep in mind that you don't have 2 full pages. Remember, you're going to be losing 5 lines from your information, your name, the class, the professor, the date, and then the title, because I need a title for this. That's 5 lines that you do not have. And remember, this is double spaced. So please make sure in your resource folder, if you do not know how to set a document up in MLA, that is in there. I walk you through it step by step on how to do that. And because I am requiring MLA, which means I'm not just grading on content, I'm grading on format as well. So please make sure that you are familiar with that. If you have any questions with that, bring it to class on Wednesday or Thursday. I'll be more than happy to clarify at that time. Again, do not forget, you have a Wednesday night discussion board. The summary for this article has to be loaded on that initial thread by Wednesday evening by 11:59. I want everyone to at least have 2 responses. It's very difficult for everyone to get 2 responses if you're not putting yours up on time. Okay, and there are some students, remember, people are working. That's why I try to give you this information as soon as possible so you can start working and getting that information up, because they're trying to get their work done before Sunday, and so that's okay too. All right, so if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to reading your first writing response of this semester. Have a great evening. Bye.